The film opens as Violet Gates is lying on the floor while her face is bloody. She is being attacked by her abusive husband Blake. She tries to crawl away from him, but he continues to beat her. Blake holds a gun at her and tells her that she did this to herself. He then puts the gun in her hands so that she can shoot him. Blake tells her to shoot him before Violet screams and puts her finger on the trigger. Years later, Blake is dead and Violet has moved to Chicago with her 5-year-old son Toby. As a result of her own experiences, she has taken a job helping other victims of abuse. Later, while Violet is cooking dinner, she gets a message from Toby asking her to play hide and seek with him. Violet looks for him and plays with him. Violet's younger sister Jen arrives at the house to babysit Toby as Violet plans to go on a date with a man named Henry Campbell, whom she has been talking to on a dating app for 3 months. They have made plans to have their first date and finally meet in person. After helping her sister pick something nice to wear, Jen assures Violet that Henry will not be like Blake. Violet arrives at the restaurant, Palette, which is on a high floor. Henry texts her that he will be running late, so she goes to order a drink at the bar. She accidentally bumps into a guy named Connor before going to order wine at the bar, served to her by the friendly bartender Kara. Violet is then approached by a man named Richard, who mistakes her for his blind date for the evening. When Diane does show up, she appears disappointed to see Richard, which Violet catches. Violet is also hit on by Phil, the restaurant's piano player, but Kara tells him Violet is waiting for a date. Phil asks for her favorite song so that he can play for her on the piano, and Violet tells him to play Baby Shark. Violet and Kara quickly bond since Kara is a mother too. Violet goes through Henry's dating profile, and it is revealed that he is a photographer who works for the mayor's office. While trying to write a message to Jen, Violet starts to get dark memes sent to her phone from an app called Digidra. She looked around, but couldn't get anyone since most people are on their phone. Henry finally shows up, and the two go to their table. Henry apologizes for keeping her waiting and has brought his camera since he fears that it might get stolen. He gives Violet a hockey puck as a gift for Toby, which she thinks is a sweet gesture. Things start off well enough before their waiter, Matt, shows up. He does a little too much by trying to show off his improv skills before getting Violet and Henry drinks. Violet continues to get drops on her phone, ordering her to answer. Henry says it's probably someone in the restaurant pranking her until the person sending the drops uses Violet's name. Henry tells her it is fine and explains that her name is available for anyone to see as long as they are within 50 feet. He takes out his phone and opens a measurement app to find exactly where the drops are coming from. He goes around the restaurant and tells Violet that the lobby is out of range, so whoever is sending her the drops is in the restaurant. Then the dropper sends her another meme, making fun of her attempt to find him. Although intending to ignore the messages, Violet is forced to answer when she sees through her security cameras that there is a masked man in her house with a loaded gun. Violet's face starts to change, and Henry asks her if everything is okay. The dropper warns her to shut her mouth. Violet tells Henry she will be back and leaves. The dropper informs Violet that her phone is cloned, so he can see whatever move she is trying to quietly make, like calling 911, and if she tries to alert Henry or anyone else, the masked man will kill Toby. She bumps into Connor again, to which he asks her if she is fine, but Violet apologizes and runs off. She goes to the bathroom to try and get help from some prom girls by using one of the girls' eyeliner to write call 911 on her hands, but the dropper can hear Violet too. The girls think she is some kind of a weirdo and leave. She searches the bathroom and finds out that it has been bugged. Violet gets back to Henry, where he asks her if she is fine. Violet makes up an excuse and tells him that Toby and she haven't been separated since his father's passing and that she is just feeling emotional. Violet then sees that the lamp at their table has been bugged too. She tells Henry that she is afraid of heights and suggests they switch to another table. Matt finds them another table away from the window after Henry tells him. While they are switching tables, the dropper sends her a message not to switch tables or he will kill Toby if they don't go back to their previous table. Violet then says she would like to go back to their original table and tells Henry that the view is better there. Henry gets into a little disagreement with the restaurant manager after she mentions that Henry specifically has reserved the table. But Henry says he didn't choose the table but asked for any table with a view. They tell her that they are comfortable with the table. Henry theorizes that the drop she has been getting might be because they have accidentally taken someone's reservation and they pissed someone off. The dropper instructs Violet to take the SD card out of Henry's camera. She pretends to lose her watch to give Henry an excuse to get up and ask the waitresses if they have seen it, allowing her to open his bag and go through the camera. Violet finds incriminating pictures of the mayor and takes the SD card before Henry returns. The dropper then orders her to get back to the bathroom. Violet says that her watch might be there and leaves. When she goes back to the bathroom, the dropper tells her to destroy the card and then to look in the paper towel dispenser. Inside is a small vial of poison, and the dropper orders Violet to put it in Henry's drink to kill him. When Violet vocally objects to doing so, the dropper suggests that she has already killed someone. Violet comes out of the bathroom and goes to the reception to ask the manager if anyone else specifically requested the table they are on, but the manager tells her they are at the right table. When she goes to take other guests to their table, Violet uses the reception phone to dial 911, but before she can explain her situation, the phone gets cut off. She then checks her phone to see the dropper is out of range. She uses the computer there to go to a website dedicated to helping report domestic violence. She goes to a live chat and asks for help. Someone online answers her, but before Violet can text them what is going on, the dropper gets in range and tells her not to send the message. Violet can't take the risk and cancels the message. She checks the surveillance cameras to see Connor switching seats and figures that it might be the dropper. Violet goes out to the restaurant and goes to Connor. She questions him, but he says he is waiting to meet with his sister. He tells her that Henry is looking at them and suggests she get back to her table. Violet goes back to the table with Henry. Violet keeps pretending that she is having issues with Jen and Toby, leading Henry to think she is not invested in the date, so he starts to leave. Since the dropper is ordering Violet to keep Henry there, she kisses him to convince him to stay. Violet and Henry also see Diane leaving Richard in a huff after she calls him a jerk and a loser. While Matt is taking Violet and Henry's orders, she notices Phil playing Baby Shark on the piano since she jokingly suggested it earlier. She writes 2 hostages and her address on a $20 bill for Matt to pass to Phil as a tip. He sees the message and goes to the bar, but after going back, Phil starts to faint after his drink is spiked. The dropper tells Violet that was a bad move, and she watches on the security cameras as the masked man attacks and knocks Jen out before locking Toby in his room. Phil barely gets back up before he runs to the lobby and takes the elevator. Violet and Henry see an ambulance arriving from outside and hope that it is not for Phil. Violet then suggests that they do shots, so she goes to the bar to order tequila. When Violet gets up, she accidentally drops her purse, and unbeknownst to her, her watch falls out and Henry sees it. Kara senses something is not right with Violet, but she tries to keep herself calm. When she gets back to the table, Henry reveals he saw her watch drop out of her purse. He tells her that he knows she is lying to him. He asks her if it is the drops that are making her nervous and offers to help her. We then see a flashback of the night Violet got attacked by Blake. After he gave her the gun, Violet fails to shoot him, so Blake takes the gun from her and points it at Toby. Back in the present, Violet asks what made him want to message her even after knowing she was a widowed single mother. Henry tells her that he was close to deleting his profile from the app since he feels that most people are trying to show a fake version of themselves that they think other people want to see. But everything changed when he saw Violet's profile. He tells her that she just seemed kind and a good mother, but Violet tells him she is not. She tells him that the night Blake attacked her and pointed the gun at Toby, she just sat there doing nothing. Violet tells him that is the kind of mother she is. Henry relates and says he also found himself in a messed up situation where someone he trusted ended up being different, and because of this, innocent people were getting hurt for a long time. Henry stayed silent, but he finally tried to do the right thing, and he feels guilty for the people that got hurt. He tells Violet that abusive people turn everything around and make them feel crazy and take all their hopes even if they are dead. Henry says that hope is what brought him to the date, hope that he can finally be happy, and tells her that is what brought her too. Henry goes to the bar to get limes, giving Violet a moment to slip the poison into Henry's shot glass. Henry gets suspicious when Kara says that Violet didn't want limes. Henry returns to the table with the limes. They cheer to Hope and Henry is about to drink his shot, but Violet spills wine on his shirt at the last second to stop him. As he goes to the bathroom to wash up, the dropper texts Violet that it wasn't a smart move. She sees Connor again and thinks he's the dropper, but before she goes to confront him, his sister suddenly shows up for real. Kara goes to Violet and asks if she needs help to get away from Henry. She tells Kara that he is not the problem but asks about Connor's sister. Kara says she comes in all the time, but she usually sits at a different table, the table where Richard has been sitting all night. She tells Violet that she understands why Diane left, because he was staring at Violet all night. Violet then goes to confront Richard, confirming that he is indeed the dropper. He works for people alongside the mayor and is involved in shady business, and he also poisoned Phil. Henry is considered a rat for gathering evidence against them, and Violet was used as a pawn to kill him since she could be blamed as a widowed killer who snapped since security cameras would have seen her slip the poison into the drink. Another flashback reveals that Violet didn't kill Blake. After he pointed the gun at Toby, Blake couldn't bring himself to shoot. Upon hearing police sirens, he turned the gun on himself and committed suicide. Richard tells her that Phil died before he reached the first floor and tells her that she might have not killed Blake, but she is the reason Phil is dead. Henry goes to the table, and Violet is forced to give him the tequila shot, which he takes. After Henry walks away, Richard feels confident in his victory and starts to eat his dessert. Violet says that Blake ate the same dessert during an apology dinner. She began to see the pattern in abusers like Blake, so she reveals to Richard that she never poisoned Henry's shot, but she instead slipped it into the dessert while Richard watched Henry drink. Realizing he's been drugged, Richard flies into a rage and draws a gun on Violet. He shoots, but Henry pushes Violet out of the way and takes the shot. He starts to shoot, sending the patrons running in a panic. Kara tries to defend Violet but gets stabbed in the back. Violet then grabs the hockey puck Henry gave her while Richard orders the masked man to kill Jen and Toby. Violet throws the puck at the window behind Richard, which he already shot. It breaks, and the decompression blows Richard out the window to his death. Violet nearly falls out as well, but Henry manages to save her. They call for medics and police while Henry lets Violet take his car keys to drive home. Violet races through traffic to get home while Jen regains consciousness and goes to help Toby. The masked man attacks them, but Jen stabs him in the leg and tries to hide herself and Toby. The man breaks through and shoots Violet in the arm while Toby evades capture. Violet makes it home and fights the masked man. Unfortunately, the masked man overpowers her, but before he can finish her, Toby uses his toy car to deliver the man's gun to Violet. She picks up the gun and shoots him multiple times, finally killing him. Violet runs to Toby and reunites with him and Jen. Richard's murder plot is exposed, which in turn causes the mayor and many of his associates to get arrested. Violet goes to visit Henry in the hospital while he recovers and brings him food. Violet then gets more drops on her phone, but it's just Jen down the hall pranking her. Violet asks if Henry would consider a boring second date, and Henry says he would love nothing more than that.